Hey guys, I pushed the button a couple minutes early tonight just because I wanted to answer a couple questions that people had. After the show, hey, after the show last week, there were a bunch of people that sent me messages and were asking questions about stuff. So I'm going to answer them. So a couple things. One is, usually I try to take a piece of my artwork and put it up, for the pre-show splash screen while I'm making my tea and stuff like that. And that's what that 10 minutes or so is, that I loop something on the looper, and that just basically plays while I get a chance to get my doo-doo together, make sure the dog is good. And all kinds of stuff. It's Sunday, it's my day off. I get 2 days off a week generally, Monday and Sunday. Usually. That doesn't mean I'm off. It means I'm just not playing shows. So, but I've been gearing up to change my schedule a little bit, and so I'm thinking about taking more time off in the summer because it's hot down here. It's really hot, and it gets pretty oppressive. So I'm thinking out. Susie and I are thinking about doing some traveling and playing some gigs elsewhere and just visiting, that kind of stuff. But we'll keep doing the Sunday shows where we have internet. And if you guys have been with us for as long as most of you have, you know that we've done this show from like 5 different countries now, and pretty much if we have the availability, we do the show. We started doing it during COVID as just a way to stay connected when a whole bunch of tours were canceled, and it just started a little community, so we kept doing it. It's been really fun. And when you comment, I can tell that you're there. I know there's a lot of people who kind of lurk, which is fine, but it's nice to know when you're there. And we have a request line. There's a group that you can join if you want to, where people request songs. Hopefully my songs, but any songs really. And if I can do a reasonable version of it. I'm working on some stuff now that's pretty cool. New songs of mine, and also some interesting cover songs. So anyway, I don't know if Susie's back from the dog walk yet, but she's usually manning the house while I man the studio. So on the website, if you look on the website, there's a link to. There's 2 links. There's one to the Facebook show, and there's one to the YouTube show, and eventually there'll be one to the Instagram version and if it's still around, the TikTok version. There's a lot of people that have preferential platforms, and like to make it available to everybody when we can. So the first question, somebody asked me about hillbilly flamenco. Like, what does it mean? What does hillbilly flamenco mean? Because I'm not a real flamenco player. I mean, I love the sound of it, but I wouldn't call myself an actual flamenco player. It takes years and years of, practice and sometimes breeding and stuff like that. And I'm not really a hillbilly, even though I grew up some in Pennsylvania in a pretty hillbilly kind of town. But that's not really me either. But I think hillbilly flamenco, the reason I kind of adopted that, and I put a chapter in my book, which I'm going to read to you. If my phone doesn't die, it might. But this is a little preview of my my little self-help book for musicians. So I'm just going to read it to you. Hillbilly flamenco, the name of the game. Sometimes if you want to be free as a performer, it's helpful to have a persona of the moment. It helps give structure and framework to a song or a performance. For me, the words hillbilly flamenco has become a helpful way for me to allow my creative juices to flow. Kind of oxymoronic, but the contrast opens up all possibilities. A limitless palette. Being neither a hillbilly nor a flamenco player, I can let my imagination run free and create my own interpretation of whatever these words may mean to me at the moment. There's a typo in there. If I said classical or jazz or country as my style, even for a moment, it would be too constraining for me. You can play with different descriptions that you, as a performer, can play with different descriptions that inspire you. When folks ask what kind of music I play, I often say hillbilly flamenco because it relaxes expectations, it piques curiosity, and sometimes offends. It actually does offend some people because hillbilly, I didn't realize, is a derogatory term in some people's minds. It never was for me, but I guess it is. So maybe you can play as a performer, if you are, or any kind of, performer actually, or anybody who does their craft in front of other people. I don't know if it's just performers, but you can play with different descriptions that inspire you. So maybe you play mushroom baroque or hardcore ambient. The contrast is the point. It expands permissions and palettes. Be whoever you want to be, however fanciful, however contradictory. Anyway, that's a little preamble for one of the chapters in my upcoming book. It's been upcoming for a while, but, that's the way it is with these kinds of things. And I do have my request list for the show, and sometimes I even look at that request. I'd like to thank Billy Davidson for these glasses. And get well soon, buddy. Renee, Helen. I can't see who's there. My big screen so I can see it. I'm trying to look over. There's Susie and Helen and Renee and Susie and Helen and Dave. Hey, Dave. Bonjour, bonjour, ça va? Ça va, tout le monde? I don't know how many of you guys were on for my preamble. I answered one question from last week. Maybe I'll answer another one later on. And the funny thing is about questions about music and like whatever. Hey, Larry. Somebody asked me what I was practicing this week, and I'll tell you, it was a Taylor Swift song because I had to play it for a wedding. Very pretty song, actually. I will not be playing it tonight, but you know. What is that? Come and enjoy us when you're in France. Oh, we do definitely want to visit you in France. We haven't been to Europe since about a year and a half. I think it was right around the time when you were moving, when you were moving west as you did. No, southwest? Is that what you did? I think you did. blooper action for you. So next week, week from today is Bay Jam. I may or may not do a live show. I might pre-record it or send you something, from a previous show. Bay Jam is kind of an all-day festival. And it's all encompassing, usually by the time I get home from that event. This will be our 30th Bay Jam, 30 years in a row. We even did it during COVID. I mean, we just did it. We did Bay Jam. We did lots of Bay Jams. It started in 1995 and to raise money for Steven! To raise money for arts and music scholarships, and we've kept it going, and it's become a thing in the town. This is the 30th anniversary. A lot of your favorite musicians will be there, if not playing, then drinking. Okay, second request. Yeah, I think you're right, Susie. I think it will probably be too late after Bay Jam. Steve, are you going to go to Bay Jam? Dave? I'm putting you on the spot right now. Are you going to Bay Jam? If you don't go to Bay Jam, you'll be marked absent. going on, Leah? I was just singing about Bay Jam. It turned into a blues, and then I didn't like the key. Had to go to B flat, my key of choice. I don't know why. I think because it's in the middle of the guitar, and I can get low and high. It's one of those things. If I was like a more of a guitar player, I would probably play an A, because it's got more of those open strings. But I kind of hear that stuff in saxophone keys for some reason. I don't know why. Hey, Micah. I'm just noodling. Not a very focused night for me. Yeah. Wait, let's see. Something just came in here on the request line. Let's see what it is. Oh, I don't play that one. Guess I could someday. I could do that one, though. It's a wide cast of characters tonight. It was a really good day today of visiting and stuff. Very, very cool. Got to see old friends. Thanks, Dave. Okay. Gardening. Yeah, man. And it's a nice porch, too. Okay. All right. Almost, right? It does almost sound like a spy song, right? I am working on a on a solo arrangement of. I was inspired by this guy Emerald's video to work on a version of the Pink Panther. I'm not very far along on it, and I might change the key, but very cool, you know. For the I knew you'd like that one, Mike. We're excited because Nine and his band are coming, and they're backing up Mishka, which is going to be fun. April 13th, Bay Jam. Hope you guys all can come. Micah's playing. Micah's going to be finishing out the show. So don't forget, it's an all-day event, starting with the Island Music School, Scott Youngberg, and Pasta, the Lower Mat Cats, and Triple Trouble, and Steve Vanini, and Robin Fear and Friends, and then Draw from LA, Nine's band, and then Mishka, backed up by some of the Draw guys, and then the Key Largo Jam Band with Bob Buns and Jimmy Hawkins and Felix. It's going to be awesome. And also Arno's regular guys do amazing jazz stuff and rock and roll. And then Micah. Did I forget anybody? I don't think I forgot anybody. It's going to be a great day. I mean, that's like 9 bands, 10 bands. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be a long day. You're going to have to drink a lot of beer to keep up. You know our motto, drink beer for children, because they can't drink it themselves. Well, they probably could, but they're not supposed to. All right, guys. Love you all. Have a wonderful night. And nice. And we'll see you soon. This, oh, by the way, on my website, I have T-shirts with the Limitless guitar logo and really nice coffee cups with the Limitless guitar logo. That's right, I'm merchandising. Helen, I can't believe you stayed up so late. Mm-hmm. Have a great night. Thanks, everybody, for being here. Love you all. And there's one of my pictures called Sprites.